Welcome back to AM Northwest. Our next guest is an award-winning best-selling author of more than 20 novels, including The Nightingale and Firefly Lane. Her newest book explores the Vietnam War and its aftermath through the eyes of a nurse who served. Here to share the inspiration behind the women, we welcome back Kristin Hannah. Good to have you with us, Kristin.
Hi, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
I am loving this book so much. Talk to me about your inspiration for writing it, because it had to be personally motivating.
It really was. I have wanted to write this book for 20 years, actually. You know, I was a child during the Vietnam War, but it made a huge impact on me and cast a huge shadow over my life. One of my best girlfriend's father served and was shot down and was lost. And I don't know if people remember, but we wore these POW bracelets.
I used to wear one.
Did you?
Yeah, we're the same age here. I used to wear one of those as well. Yeah.
And so, you know, for years I'm looking down and seeing his name and being reminded of their service and their sacrifice. And then later, of course, I watched how the veterans were treated when they came home. And so it was something that I just really wanted to write about for a long time. But it wasn't until really the pandemic, when we were on lockdown and I was seeing the nurses and the doctors, you know, on the front line of the pandemic and how they were sacrificing for all of us, that the whole novel sort of came together. And I realized I wanted to write about, you know, the nurses who served in Vietnam.
And you must have done a lot of research. I mean, as usual, your writing is very detailed, right down to the smells and sights and sounds and all of that. But there's a lot of detail in here. So how did you do your research?
Well, I mean, I was, you know, first, of course, I just do what I always did, which is, you know, research exhaustively. And then I was very lucky. I met up with a woman, a former Army nurse, Diane Carlson Evans, who wrote her own book called Healing Wounds about her service in Vietnam. And she was just a huge help on making sure that everything was not only accurate and honest and visceral and felt real, but also I really wanted to honor these women and these veterans and their forgotten service, and she really helped me with that as well.
It's also about the power of female friendship too. That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah, I mean, the real beating heart of this book is the female friendship. And, you know, I think we're used to seeing camaraderie in wartime from a male perspective.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
so I think it's really great to remind people that, you know, women are out there, they're, you know, in the war, they're in combat, and they are forming the kind of lasting friendships that that we've seen historically in male relationships.
What kind of reaction are you getting from female veterans who've read your book?
You know, it has just been sort of stunning. You know, I've just gotten back off the road and I was on tour and I spoke to so many female vets and actually their husbands and their children who, you know, have come up to me and said, thank you so much. We've been waiting so long for a book like this. And I think, as you know, there was a lot of years where Vietnam was not something that, you know, was talked about.
Right.
And so I'm really, really proud to be able to shine a light on these women and their forgotten service.
You also getting gifts from people who love your book. I saw a T-shirt that you got. She serves, she rocks. Love that.
Isn't that great? And, you know, I posted that on Instagram, and the first thing that happened was my nephew, who is in a relationship with a female servicewoman, called and said, hey, where do I get this T-shirt? And so it's really exciting just to see it even in my own family.
Do you see this becoming like some of your other novels, becoming also something that goes to film or TV? Like Firefly Lane that I loved?
Thank you. That was such a Northwest
right?
Piece there. Yeah, that was a lot of fun to watch. Yeah, I mean, Warner Brothers is really committed to bringing the women to the big screen. And I think it's a good time for it. And, you know, as a woman and as a writer, I hope they do it.
Your main character, Frankie, here, we follow her. Was there a person in your life or multiple women in your life that really were Frankie?
You know, Frankie is really a pure fiction. I mean, she comes from, my imagination, but she is very much based on and rooted in the female nurses who served over there. I mean, so many of them were young and inexperienced and patriotic when they, volunteered to serve in the war. A lot of them had come from families that were very proud of their World War II service.
Right.
And so, I just kept thinking as I was writing this book over and over again, these women were so young.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she's completely fictional, though.
Amazing. The book is incredible. I want to tell everyone it's called The Women. Kristin Hanna, thank you so much. Great to talk with you again.
Thank you. It's been great being here.
All right, we'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Don't go away.